welcome to What to Watch. I'm Clint Gage.
I'm Jackie Jing.
I'm David Griffin.
Yay.
We are talking about Spider-Man Far From Home. So, real quick spoiler warning. Anybody who hasn't seen Spider-Man Far From Home, get out of here, bookmark this, come back, watch it later. First thing that we got to get into is the Spider-Man himself, Tom Holland,
Yes.
right? So
Love
he's
adorkable.
adorkable,
Yes,
right?
so
As
adorkable, yeah.
Peter Parker should be.
Yes,
Yeah.
totally agree. Yeah.
So how much longer are we going to get an adorkable Tom Holland, right? He's
Good question.
contractually, this is like real world stuff. Contractually, Tom Holland signed up for 6 movies to start with. 3 solo Spider-Man movies, 3 sort of cameo movies that he's, Civil War, Infinity War, and Endgame have already taken care of those 3. He's done 2 solo movies with Homecoming and Far From Home. So theoretically, he's only got 1 more solo Spider-Man movie under contract.
No.
Right?
Yeah, they can extend his contract though.
Of course they can.
And I love
Of course they
him.
can.
I just feel like he is just Peter Parker. He has that insecurity about him, but then is also really funny and tripping all over himself. And I just really like what they're doing with his story because you just see him. I mean, imagine being a teenager with these powers. A lot of the past movies and even in the comics sometimes, like it was just kind of like, okay, cool, I have these powers, and he was a little bit cocky. Other times, though, you saw him really struggling with it. And I feel like with Tom Holland's movies, we see him struggling with being a teen and trying to be a superhero, and I absolutely love that. So I'm a big fan of Tom Holland Spider-Man, in case you couldn't tell. But yeah. So, like, I'm like, sign him up. Let's get as many movies out of him as we can, so.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of him too, but I mean, going back to what Clint was saying about the real world stuff, it's like it depends on what does he want to do with his career.
True.
Does he want to go do more indie stuff? Does he want to get an Oscar nomination? I mean, I think Robert Downey has proved that you can do both. I know he's far from that level of, pull in the industry to be able to do what he wants. But these movies have enough time off where you can go shoot an indie film. You can go shoot a small picture that'll maybe get you an Academy Award nomination, then come back and do a big blockbuster. There's time for both.
Yeah.
So we always hear that. We hear that with Chris Evans. Chris Evans is like, I want to direct. I want to do this. But it's like, it's a good job.
Yeah.
It's
It's
not a
real
bad
good
job.
job,
You're
yeah.
adored. You get paid a lot of money.
And
I'm
the
sure it's
MCU is going to take care. Like they
They're gonna
haven't
take care of you.
really screwed anything up yet. So
No.
it's not like you're going to be in a big dumpster fire of a movie either.
Yeah.
Right.
But that is the thing. Like you're talking about Robert Downey Jr.
I know, yeah.
Like he hasn't been able to as much. I don't think he's been in a couple of things. Like he was in that lawyer movie with Robert Duvall or whatever that kind of came and went.
Oh,
And, like,
true.
he's produced a couple things, and then outside of cameos and like Chef, he hasn't done a whole lot outside of the MCU. And the way that they're, obviously the movie has set up Spider-Man as the next Tony Stark in the world of the MCU. So it's like stepping that back out into the real world for Tom Holland to sit here and look at Robert Downey and like being the next Robert Downey Jr. He really hasn't had anything else to do. Granted, in 11 years, like for a 23-year-old, it shouldn't be that
He's got
big of a
a
deal
lot of
for
time to
him.
figure it out.
He does a lot of time.
Chris Evans, though, I think is a better example because he has been in a couple of other things, and he's actually has directed some stuff too. And so it'll be interesting to say because Tom Holland has also mentioned in interviews and things like that. This was years ago, I think, but he references like Meryl Streep and like careers that he wants to have, and so like, he wants to do more stuff, and I totally get that, but. But so does everybody else.
Well,
I think Hemsworth is probably the only one that's done it like totally right.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, because he's
and he's Hemsworth also has proven that he's great at comedy.
Yes.
So he can go
Totally.
into romantic comedies. He can, even though Ghostbusters wasn't the most well received, I thought he was one of the best parts of Ghostbusters.
Yeah.
He was really funny in that. So Hemsworth's done a pretty good job of that. But it's tough. I mean, but I think it's not because of a time thing with Robert Downey. Robert Downey is just one of the highest paid actors in Hollywood. He doesn't need the money.
Right.
I think
Totally.
he's just like, I'm fine doing my one big movie a year.
Yeah.
Maybe
Well,
2 or
his,
cameo and
his
then step away.
negotiations,
Oh, it's crazy,
what he
yeah.
figured out for Avengers Endgame, like I forgot the exact particulars of his agreement, but it's like he's supposed to make money depending on how much money that movie made. We all know how it made
Yeah, I
billions of dollars. So he's like
I think
he's in pretty,
he's
yeah.
gobs of money is the official way to put it.
Totally.
But I get it
yeah.
with Tom
Gobs
Holland's
of
different story
money.
because he's still young.
Yeah.
He's probably a little, he wants to prove himself in other areas of his career except for Spider-Man. So I get it. But I think he can stick around and do both. I hope he does both.
All right, so that is what we think about Tom Holland's future in the MCU. Let us know what you think about it in the comments down below. And also make sure to check out our WTF questions about Spider-Man Far From Home, as well as all the Easter eggs that we found. And of course, subscribe to IGN for more What's Watch, and everywhere you like to watch is what we usually say.
Yeah.
Not in that order. It's rarely in that order.
You actually killed that outro. We should just stick with that. I'm not going to say anything.